Hey, it's Scott Bywater here, and I wanted to address a topic that came up in uh, a speech I did yesterday in regards to content marketing and email marketing, and I was referring to how to write emails and how to do it writing stories and that sort of thing. And the question came up, well, isn't that manipulating, or isn't that manipulative? And I wanted to take a moment to sort of look into or dive into this question of manipulation or within our marketing, because one of the things I said when this topic came up in regards to manipulation was simply that it all boils down to what your intention is. So if you have very strong intentions with what you're doing, if you believe that what you're doing can really make a difference and really make an impact on your customers, then we're all manipulating, but I think a better word here is influence. And it all boils down to, well, what is your actual intention? And it's really clear that, as business people, as marketers, that we get really comfortable with, what we're doing. Because if we're not comfortable with what we're doing, the biggest thing that really, holds us back is our mindset, in terms of what we're doing. So if we sort of go, what I'm doing is, manipulative, or if we feel that in any way, then it stops us, from moving forward. So I gave the example at the workshop in terms of, that we're always, trying to influence. So when this question came up, one thing I said is, like, who here is married, or who here has a partner? And obviously, quite a few people put up their hands. And then I continued with from there. So in terms of, if you actually, have you ever tried to manipulate or influence your partner? And most of us have. We want to go out to dinner at this restaurant, or we want to go to this movie, or we want to, take this step in our career, or whatever. So we're always in that position where we're looking to have an influence and have an impact, on our customers, and on our prospects, and on our family, and all of that sort of thing is something that we're constantly looking to do. So what I would encourage, I think it really comes down to, or boils down to, getting in touch with your mission and purpose as a business owner, and the difference and impact that you want to have. Because think about it like as if you're a school teacher. So if you're a school teacher, what do you want to, you want to influence your children to get the best grades they will get. And let's say it comes down to, disciplining as a school teacher, or a parent, that same exact, action, can be, it all boils down to, was that action done with, the right intention? So that's really what this whole thing boils down to. So what I would encourage you to get clear on with your marketing, is really hone in and sort of say, hey, what difference do I want to make to my target market? What difference do I want to make, to my customers? What impact do I want to have? How do I want to change their lives? How do I want to transform their lives? Because once you get clear on that, once you get clear on, hey, this is what I want to do to have an impact on my customer's life, on my prospect's life, etc., etc. And then, hey, Peter, how are you? Good to see you here. I'm up here with Steve at the moment. So But what once you start to have that, have that sort of, and you say, like, imagine, and I heard it was actually Kerwin Ray said this in one of his videos, but like, and it really struck me. If you had the cure for, if you had the cure for cancer, and then you had a mother and their child had cancer, and they were like, they had 3 months to live. Okay, so imagine this: you've got the cure for cancer, their child has 3 months to live. What would you do to influence them? What steps would you take to actually influence them, or to manipulate them in order to take action and to take your cure? How far would you go in order to do that? If you knew with 100% certainty that you had that sort of, you had that formula. And when we come from that sort of purpose, and we really feel like we're having that sort of impact on our customers or on our prospects' lives, then we're coming from the right intention. So what I would encourage you to do is really get in touch with your purpose, and often it's deeper. So Peter, who's watching, runs a paintball business, but it's not just necessarily going out and having fun, but this might be the opportunity for a group of guys to bond, and or a team to bond, or whatever, and that bonding actually creates, if we go deeper and we start to think deeper here, that bonding actually creates endorphins, which make us feel good. So this might, if we go deeper and we start to take a step deeper, those endorphins might save someone who's, let's say, going through depression, or going through a divorce, or going through an emotional sort of state, going through emotional issues. They might save that person from years of depression, or they might save someone potentially from suicide because they came to a damn paintball game. Now, some people might go, well, that's a bit extreme. But what we've got to look at is, we've got to look at the deeper implications of what we're doing, because you go, oh, it's just paintball, but actually no, it's not. What we're actually doing, what the deeper benefit is that we're offering here, is not just paintball. It's not just marketing services or digital marketing services or whatever. It's like, it's making a difference on people's lives. So digging deeper and then coming from that, I think is key. Because if you woke up every morning and thought, A, I'm selling paintball, or B, I'm saving people from depression by bringing connection. I mean, what drives you more? Like, what's going to drive you more? Oh, I got to sell paintball. I got to fit this. Or I've got to save people from depression. And if I can save someone from, let's say, depression because they're connecting, then what I can also do here, as well as that, is I can actually save a child, because that child grows up with with, let's say, a father who's passionate. So then that child goes on, and they go on to become a better parent, and maybe they go on to have this massive impact in the world. All because they connected through something like paintball. And this can apply to any business, and it's getting in touch with what your purpose is really key. Hey Karen, how are you? So if we look at let's say the HR industry, because I know Karen's in the HR sort of space. So if we look at that, we sort of go, well, there's more than just, hey, I'm selling HR services. It's like, no, I'm actually making a difference to a whole, not just to a client, but I'm actually making the difference and having an impact on people's lives. Because if HR is managed well, if HR is managed really effectively, then the whole company grows better, and it works better, and it bonds better. And that also sets off the endorphins in people's heads, which means instead of going home and kicking the dog, and going and having a beer and sitting in front of the TV, someone actually goes home and they go, and they spend time with their family, and they connect, and they have dinner together, and that is the difference which we're really making as business owners and entrepreneurs. Yeah, that's the impact which we're having, is that, yeah, one thing we do, go, it resonates, it has waves, you know, so it's like you plop a rock into a pond, and that just goes whoosh, and it goes out, and it has a ripple effect on everything around it. And that is really the key to what we're talking about here. So then you sort of think, well, if I have to manipulate someone, if I have to influence someone so that I save people, I save people from, from depression, or I help people connect better, or I help people make more of a difference to their kids. Is that such a bad thing? If I've got to manipulate or influence things, because as entrepreneurs, we've got this smelly sort of thing. Like, oh, I don't want to sell anything, and it's out of integrity, and it's this. But we're always selling something. We are always selling something. That really is what it boils down to. All of us are selling something. What it comes down to is, what is your intention? What is your intention with what you're doing? Because if your intention comes from that big purpose of making a difference, then manipulate all you like. And I mean, what I mean by manipulate is, I mean influence. I mean, use all the tools at your disposal. How much would you do? Like, if your kid, if you had a teenage kid and they were going through, and they were like, they got on some really bad drug, how much would you manipulate them to get them off it? How much manipulation would you go through to get them off it? You wouldn't care if you called it manipulation. You wouldn't care if you called it influence. You know why? Because you love them so much, and you just want to change you just want to change their life, and you don't want to happen to it. So you don't care. So if we come from this sort of space, with our customers, where we really want to have that sort of an impact on people's lives, then it's fine. Yeah, it's absolutely fine in my book. So really, really always ask yourself, what is my intention first? What is my purpose? And then, if your purpose is good, and it's solid, and it's authentic, and you want to make a difference, then just throw all the marketing techniques, all the sales techniques into it, so that you can have that sort of impact. So anyway, that's my rant for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like me to rant about something else, I want to start to do more and more of these these Facebook Live sort of communications. I'd love to get your thoughts on anything else you'd like me to talk about, or any other comments, or if you go, oh yeah, what about this, what about that? And we can have sort of an ongoing engagement, and an ongoing ongoing communication. So I think that's really just critical. The thing to take away is, if you're authentic, if your heart's coming from the right place, if you want to make a difference for people, then use all the marketing techniques you can to have that sort of impact. All for now. Thanks for tuning in. I'll chat to you again soon.